Hello guys. We are back for another episode of Using Up Your 12 by 12s. This is another folio by Corey Dahlman. Another complicated one. I remember trying to do this the first time, and I think I used like 3 different papers through throwing the first 2 out. This one hurt my brain. So I actually went back and rewatched the video ahead of time. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it doesn't hurt my brain as much this again. So this will have a closure. I'm going to do magnet closures. Got a little flap here. This is your little front cover. This is a pocket. It's not glued yet because this is my sample. This will be a side loading pocket. Opens up. Belly band here. This opens up. This is going to be a large pocket, top loading. And then this is a side pocket. I do have some notes on here. It's supposed to be a 1.5 by 5.5, and this one ended up being 1 by 5.5. So it's not a very deep pocket. And like I said, I had a really hard time with this one. It boggled my brain so many times. And like I said, it took me a lot to do it the first time. So let's go ahead and get started. And as always, I'll show you one on camera, and I'll do the rest off camera and then get them posted onto my Etsy shop. But here's the papers that I have chosen. So I've got this one, it's yellow. It's kind of hard to see in the, so it's yellow squares. Big old pink polka dots, yellow polka dots, yellow orangish, and then this purple paper. So let's go ahead. I'm going to set these aside. Okay, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to trim 1 inch off a side. Now, if your paper is directional, which this technically is directional, in that all of these are facing the same way. If it's directional, you want to take your inch off either the top or the bottom. I'm going to pull mine off the top here. If it's not directional, it doesn't matter which side you take it off. But you're going to end up with a 12 by 11. And this you need to cut in half. So this is 12 inches. So kind of cut it in half. 6 and 6-ish. And set that aside. Might move my mouse out of the way. Okay. Then put the cutter down. Bring up my scoreboard. Now on the 12-inch side, right? So I've just cut 1 inch off of this side, so this is 11. This is my 12-inch side. We're going to score this at 4. And 8 all the way to the bottom. And we're going to turn it 90 degrees to the left and score it 5.5. And it's funny because she did and I'm like, okay, I should have just done it while I had it. Go back to your right. So when you're here, go 4, 8 all the way down. Oh, that's why, because you need your center line. That's why you twist it. So you get your 5.5 score line here. Then you turn it back, and next to your 8, you're going to do just a smidge. Because you're creating this little spot here. See how there, instead of it being flat like this, there's 2 score lines side by side, so that it gives it a little bit of room. So 1/8 of an inch, and you're only going to that center score line right there. Now we get to cutting. So again, we got 4, 4, so 4 and 4, 4 and 4. This one's 3 7/8, and this one's 4. We're gonna cut this bottom one completely out. Why don't I feel like I'm at a weird angle? She does this on her cutting board. I mean, on her paper trimmer, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not that good. So just to the outer side of that score line. Okay, like so. And then this line here, so we've cut this one out. This score line, we're just going to cut that fold out and cut it up to that center score. Now the advantage to doing this on a cutting board, obviously, is that you can actually cut straight lines. But I am not that good with my cutting board. I feel like I would, overshoot where I'm supposed to be stopping. Okay, so set that aside. Okay, now you're going to fold this one and this one, both of these to the back. To the back. And to the back. Trim this off. And if this is still crooked, if you cut it on the wrong this side of the fold line and you still have a lip here, you just trim that off and make it even with your fold there. Let's see if I can get a little bit more up onto my desk here. Okay, now I'm going to set this aside for the moment. We're going to take this piece, which is currently 4 by 5.5. And we're going to cut it at 2.5. So 2.5. So you end up with a 2.5 inch piece and a 1.5 inch piece. And we're going to set those aside. Also, off of this top panel, you're also going to cut this down 2 1/4 from the fold line. So I'm going to flip it over just so I can see. Remember, this is the square that's got the 2 folds. So the one that's closest to the outside. So you've got this score line and you've got this score line. 2 1/4 inches from that score line. Two and a quarter. She did say this is, 2 to, or 2 1/4 to 2.5, but no less than 2 1/4. Okay. So there's that. So now we got this 4, 4, 4, 4, 2 1/4. Fold this back, fold this back. Okay. Set that off to the side. On your 2.5 by 5.5 piece, you're going to score a 1/2 inch on the vertical. So up and down. Okay. This is your front flat. On one of your 1x6s, you're going to score 1/4 inch on each end. Wrong. This one. 1/4 inch on each end of your 1x6. On one of them. This is your belly band. On your 1.5 by 5.5, which is this one that I started to score, notch the center and glue against join on last panel. Oh, that's this pocket right here. I like this song. I don't know if I don't know if this is one that YouTube's gonna nail me on. And while we've got that out, let's work on these. Now this is a trick that I learned from her. So figure out where your folds are here. And if you're wanting to be like super precise, you can measure these out and get them in the center. So like between the 4 and the 8, so halfway between would be the 6, you know, and it would go right there. And what she does is she just puts a little dab of glue and she attaches it. And then with the hole punch, just lines it up. And that way she knows that her her notches are always the same depth. Just a little trick that she uses and taught, and I thought that was kind of cool. For me, when I'm doing a full depth notch, I go to this bottom section right here, where it starts to go up straight on the side of my hole punch here. I do. I feel like I'm like at a weird angle. Anyway, it's got the curve here, and then it's got the 2 straight edges. I line it up to that very bottom point, and I get just that curve. And that's my general depth that I do on all of my pieces. So 5.5, 2, so right about there. So I do want to try to kind of center it. So I'm just going to put a little dent there, just so I can see where I'm at. See what I'm saying? It's to the bottom edges before it goes straight. I also have it painted where the center is, so I can line that up with, I can line this dot up with the center that I mark on my paper. Okay. So now before we do any gluing, think I can get rid of my scoreboard. My nose is itching. Okay, so you're 2.5 by 5.5, scored a 1/2 inch on the vertical. You're going to glue this to the fold on the back right edge between panel 2 and panel 3. So again, taking the sample out, right? We have this. This is what we're looking at right here. This is your first panel. This is panel 1, panel 2, panel 3. You're going to glue it to the back side of panel 2 along that fold. I hole punched that on the wrong side. So my belly band's going to be right there. That's okay. It's okay. Just going to pull it, notch it completely out. So here's where we're at. So as you bring it down, like so, you're going to glue this facing your right currently, because it's going to fold back this way. Does that make sense? You're going to fold it up against this fold line. So if that helps, fold your piece in half like that, and you're going to attach this edge. Here's your score. And you're going to attach it right here. Now I do want this piece to go and be going in the same direction. So it's going to go, oh, no, it's going to be going in the opposite direction. Yay, me. Okay. My glue is coming to the end of this old glue. So fold your flap over, and that's where you're going to apply the glue. Come on. Usually just sticking the pin down in there is enough to get it going, but it's being a little extra stubborn. Ugh, can't squeeze with that hand. By the time you guys see this, I will have had my nerve conduction test done on my left hand, as well as the x-ray on my left shoulder. Like, yay. Just love getting hospital bills, piled up, right? It's like my favorite thing in the world. Okay, so here's where we're at. Got that folded there. This will fold over. This, we'll have to glue these flaps in before we glue this pocket up. Okay? So I don't think we're quite there yet. does that not seem right? Did I mess it up again? I totally did. It needs to be on this side. This side. I'm like, what is wrong here? See, I'm telling you, this was a total brain buster for me. My glue is not wanting to cooperate this evening, though. There we go. See, I'm telling you, this one was like, yeah. Okay, so on your back panels, this panel here, you're going to put your folded edge up against the folded edge. I'm glad I checked before my glue got all the way dry. And then this go up and around like so. Now if you do this, if you put this little tabby on the inside, I do recommend that you put some washi over it, because your pockets are going in this way and you might get stuff hung up on that. So any kind of tape, whether it's washi, Scotch tape, packing tape, doesn't really matter. Just something to make sure that the edges of that are covered well. Especially on this leading edge, where things that you're sliding in and out of the pocket is most likely to come in contact. Okay. So this goes this way. I was trying to fold it the wrong way. Here's the front flap that comes over this way. See, and I could have put that going the opposite direction if I wanted to, if I'd thought about it. But this side is going to be the white side. So if I'd have turned that side, if I'd have turned that flap around, the whole front would have been white. So like this, the whole front would have been white. Whereas this gives it the variation between the two. And it gives you that opposite effect when you're doing the tabs. If you don't like that, you don't have to do that. This folds to the back. You know, so then you'd have this and this as your closure, for example. That's how the original is. But if this was white, you could do the whole thing, doing these as your tabs. Lots of different ways that when you choose to do that part of it. Now the 1.5 by 5.5 inch, you're going to glue to the far right edge. Where's my piece that I notched? Did I drop it? It's not in my book. Where did I put it? Oh, I did drop it. So this one, you're going to glue to this edge here, overlapping just a hair. You could do it this way if you want, and then it's going to look like this on the inside. But if you do it this way, it kind of looks purposeful, right? It looks like you were supposed to. I don't know what happened to my paper here. It's got some issues. Happened when it was being glued. So I want them facing the same direction as this piece. So just run a bead of glue up along that edge. And a trick that I learned from Gail is then run it along the edge of the piece that you're gluing as well. And then you don't get any gaps in between. Like so. And then this piece, you glue against the join, so right here. Now that doesn't leave much room, because right here is where your fold is. So if you're gluing right up against that, doesn't give you a whole heck of a lot of space. Right? Here's your flip, or your page, I mean. You've got this much room to pull something in and out. So I actually am going to go just a smidge over this piece. And again, unfortunately, if I'd have realized it, I would have notched this side so that everything was going in the same direction, but I did not, so it will be upside down. Put this where it belongs, where I won't lose it. I also have a big gap in my gluage here. Give that a good burnish. That is simply an issue that I'm, because of the glue that I'm using. Just gonna squirt a little bit more down in there. Give it some squishage. Okay. So I'm going to scoot it ever so slightly over. Just going over the edge instead of butting it up like this. And again, not only does this blend in really well, it also doesn't give you much room. So I'm going to go a little bit above. So I need to trim it down so that it's even. So again, glue here. And I'm going to glue the two short sides. Get enough glue on there. And this long edge. Now I don't want to go too far up because I didn't put any washi over this. If I put the pocket like down here, for example, halfway down the pocket, whatever I'm sticking in there's going to get hung up on that. So I'm only overlapping it just a little tiny bit. Giving that a squish. Give it a fraction of a hair trim. Okay. Now over here, so it's going to go like this pocket. See, like that. Now this is your flap. So you're going to cut it in half. And then we're going to match this up here. And so we got to figure out, do we want it actually to come like this, where it actually is even, or like this? Because you got to remember, I got to be able to put a magnet on there as well. So I do like the idea of it being straight down the center. You got to make sure that you're leaving enough room over here that it wraps. So it's got to be able to wrap like so, and you got to have enough give. And again, because this is a pocket that's going to be glued closed, I'll run some washi over that. Let's get it into the center. I don't know that song, and I don't know. I don't know. It's probably a song that YouTube would not like me playing, so we're just going to go under that assumption, skip it, and go on to the next song. So again, just washi tape. If you watched my other videos, you'll know that this washi tape that I'm using I'm using it because it's not very sticky, number one. Even for a low tack, it's like got no tack. But I also don't really like it. So using it on the insides of stuff to secure like pockets that, you know, my paper had ripped, you know, using it in places where it's not going to be seen. I'm like, yeah, yes, please. Okay. Then this pocket, or this side, goes even with this. And we're going to do a fold there. And you got to remember, this side has that square, the squared edge. So you got to make sure that you're allowing room for that on this edge of it. But, you know, 1/8 of an inch. See how I did that? But you're going to glue it on the inside. Again, on the inside of the pocket. Make sure we're still level, even before it dries. Again, getting the non-sticky tape. Giving it some extra oomph by adding glue. Covering that edge, especially this top one. This is our top loading pocket. So we want things to be able to slide in without getting caught. Okay. Now we can glue our pockets up. So glue up this side. Glue on this side. Fold your pocket. Line up your edges the best you can. Try to center it. It's that pocket. Okay, I've glued this center pocket now. I've got to glue this pocket, Glue it up. And we're going to do this edge down here. Remember, it's opening up here. And then this long edge here. Not entirely necessary, because you do have a deep pocket here to be able to get stuff down in here. But I don't want anything getting caught on that. So I'm going to go ahead and run this in there as well, along that edge. Make sure there's no glue sticking so that my pocket doesn't glue itself closed. Okay, and we got glue here and here. Pull your pocket, fold it over. Make sure your flap is still on the outside. So you're making this little pocket here. Give all your spots a burnish. What this does is it helps spread out the fibers in the paper, and it helps the glue get really down in there. Again, just kind of evening things out. No matter how good of a cut you do, you're going to have to make those minor adjustments because paper shifts when you do things with it. So this folds over, that folds over. So let's do the magnets here. We use the little ones. I have 3. I do. 2 is all I need. Now, and for my little hole punch. I'd like something a little more coffee dyed than that. But not quite that coffee dyed. Just don't want it to be white. Then it sticks out like a sore thumb. Sorry, I'm kind of digging through my pile of scraps that I created making the last ones. Now this, where's my other one? Where'd my other magnet go? It's stuck on something. I should just leave them stuck to my scissors because then I don't lose them. Right? Leave them magneted to something, then at least I know where they're at. Okay, so with thin paper, because I'm using the little tiny magnets, if I was using cardstock, I do have a love-hate relationship with this particular hole punch. If I have to do that again, I'll mute you. I was just getting ready to mute you while I bang on it. Sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't, and there's no rhyme or reason for why and when. Good. So what I do here is I put glue on one. Get a magnet. At this point, it doesn't matter which way you put the magnet. Okay. We're going to glue this. On here. In which case I should probably put some glue on the paper, right? I want to glue the paper down. I got to put glue on the paper. A little bit on this side of the magnet. We're going to glue this right here and under the center of the tab. You could round those corners if you want. In fact, I think that it's not too late. Let's see. Might not be able to get it down in there because of the magnet. Oh, I can. We belong together. I'm going to do this side before I put the magnets on. Want to kind of try to think of those things before it's too late. You know, before you put magnets in that are going to want to stick to the metal on the inside of things and make it hard. Okay, so I have the magnet now on here. This is where it becomes important to make sure where you're putting, which direction you're putting your magnet. So I put the other cover, the other magnet cover on top like this. Put a little bit of glue. Spread it around because I don't know where it's going to land. And then I take the magnet and I let it just naturally flip itself. However, it's going to go, because it's going to attract itself. The positives, they're going to attract to the negative. You know, they're going to naturally line themselves up the way they're meant to. Now, I have a handy little tool somewhere on the mess of desk that I'm not currently finding. Aha! Move my coffee cup and it appears. So what I do here is I slide this in between those two papers. Not all the way because I don't want the magnet to stick yet. Then I bring this over, line that up, and then pick it up. So that puts my magnet over here on this side. And I can squish it down, squish that glue all around. And as you can see on this one, I'm going to have to trim off just a little smidge of that cover circle. It doesn't matter. It only is going to matter if this is decorative. You know, if you like to do a heart shape or a flower. But why is it not staying? I hope I don't have to use the bigger magnets. It's going to make me use the bigger magnets. That's a bummer. Okay, so let me pull these off before the glue completely dries. Okay, it's making me use the bigger magnets. Same process, bigger circle. And it's gonna, this circle is bigger than that is. So it's gonna have to be trimmed. So let's repeat the same process. We're gonna glue a magnet. Make sure it's gonna overlap. Gonna move it a little closer to the edge because it's the bigger magnet. Glue on the paper. We'll glue this down first. Now it's a little more obvious with this than it was with the little one. Hello, magnet, please stop sticking to my, scissors, stop sticking to my magnet, please.
What's for dinner?
Okay. Trim that down.
That's my motto. It's also the motto of my favorite tea, which is convenient. Gold bean tea. Real is gold.
And then the same process. We're going to put this over the top. We're going to find the other magnet. Okay, just like so. Glue on the paper. A little on that side of the magnet. Use this up underneath. It's the problem with the stronger magnets. Stronger magnets don't like to let go of each other. Squish that all down. Oh, there's my missing little magnet. Now, whoever gets these may want to cover these up. You know, put a little extra something on top of the magnet covers to cover them. I would say test it out because you don't want them to be so thick that they don't close anymore. But there we go. What you doing after the show? Trim that straight. still be good. Flip, pocket, upper pocket, side pocket. Ta-da! And there we go. There is that. Another wonderful, wonderfully complicated folio by Corey Dahlman. So once again, thanks for tuning in. I will do the rest of them off camera since I've already been on here 57 minutes. And we will see you in the next video. Bye!